Dave Easton, by myself today, apart from a very special guest. There has been a lot of controversy in the eFedding world. If you listen to the previous podcast we've done, I'm sure you will have noticed. My guest today is Jaiden, of course, Crazy J, known on the community. Crazy, say hello to everyone.
Hello.
So, a lot of things have obviously been happening over the last few weeks. Of course, the fallout between yourself and us at NSW. Also, what happened on your podcast, when basically I got fucking, may as well have been stamped on by about 20 people. But this is a chance for me and you to have a one-on-one, nothing to go like to have a go at each other, but to get our points across. And your chance really to have your say without anybody else there, and me to have my say without anyone else being here for me. So, first off, if you don't mind, just want to quickly go through what happened. If you want to stop me and put your say in at any time, please do so.
Alright.
So this happened on a Monday Night Raw, I do believe it was, for ourselves. We seen you online. Well, I seen you online, but you weren't in our chat, but we're in another company's chat, which I felt was disrespectful and not very loyal. You had another side to it. If you would like to put your views across.
So, I told them that I said I was on multi-Twitch, and they know even if I wasn't on multi-Twitch, I've always told them that I would watch past broadcasts or watch their shows on YouTube to always catch up if anything out of character reasons happened. But this time, I remember specifically exactly what I was doing. I had multi-Twitch up. I was watching the ending of CWA, which is Rage Pro, and if I was still watching it, I was, but most likely I was still watching because there was probably something about me that was happening or has yet to come, and I was still watching it because CWA has a large time slot. They start about 4 p.m. my time, and they will sometimes overlap the start of NSWs because their shows, once again, are so long. So when that happens, I would go on multi-Twitch so I can finish the rest of CWA, and I would just go on to the full stream of NSW because they were just starting. The NSW guys had their own feelings, and yes, they saw me in the CWA chat, but I would probably put in occasional GGs, and I did say it was my bad. I should have said hi as soon as I got into both to let them know I was there. I just said I did apologize for that. I will say that's my bad. But also at the same time, I had the chat toggled off because you're able to do that on multi-Twitch. And I was in an Xbox party talking to friends. I was playing Rocket League, and I wasn't paying attention to both streams as much, but I was glancing back and forth, obviously. But that's what I end up saying, and some of the people like Thomas Starr have said the same thing because they were in the party with me, but that's what I had to say.
Fair enough. As you can see from our point of view, we, of course, we expected you to be in our chat because obviously you were part of the group at the time. You were part of the Skype chat, which we thought would mean that you would be obviously in NSW and obviously not anywhere else on Monday night, especially as Monday night is the show you're in. Now, since that's happened, now obviously you do your own podcast on your own Twitch channel. So this is where it all blew up. This is where it all went crazy south, as they would say. So I was trying to get into the podcast because obviously I heard to me, you can slag me off all you like because I don't care. I've had it before. I'm old enough to know. But when you slag something else, you slag NSW off, that's something different for me. Because I put a lot of work into that, and a lot of people also put a lot of work into that. And I know he's not here to defend himself, so I'm not going to go into too much into Lions because we know what my feeling is about that guy. And, and at the end of the day, the guy hasn't got the balls to come on here to do a one-on-one interview. But never mind, we'll not go any more into that.
Yeah. Basically, when mine was going on, even I did it for the matter of I was dealing with a lot of things a lot. Like when I said to them, to NSW, I said distrust, they said disloyalty, but I sit here and think it now, after, even though this has been after 2 weeks, I think from that start there was just a misunderstanding, and both of us, I don't know, both of us, I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like just me and maybe you or some others, like we just handled it a way that we shouldn't have. But when I did my thing, despite after what happened, I still refrained from saying anything bad about you guys, because still I didn't have a reason to say bad about any of you, because you guys have been there for almost 2 years of my life. You guys are the reason why I found this community and everything I've done so far. So like I just said, despite what happened, I didn't want to say anything bad about you. But I will admit, when it started, Thomas Starr was having his rant and all that. And I let him have the floor, yes, but I can't control what he wanted to say or what he was saying. But I still kept it neutral, sort of, like I tried. When a lot more people came in, yes, Lions did come in. He said if I wanted him to come in, he could. He did. Mundo came in. For me, I was sitting there like, out of all these years of, well, Lions said he didn't know who Mundo was, but Mundo, how he felt about Lions, I was shocked that both of them were talking to each other. But
cutting you off,
I felt...
Sorry for cutting you off, I do apologise. The only way I wanted to cut in there is because the only reason I came in and was literally having to go at him is because I sat there for 10 minutes listening to someone saying, if you're in NSW, you should be disgraced. You shouldn't even be here. You should, nobody should be in NSW. And for me, I've never ever said to someone, don't go to COH. I've never ever said to someone, you shouldn't be. I've never ever stopped anyone going somewhere else. Yes, I've said you may be in too many, but I've never said to anybody, if you're in that ether, then you're not with us.
Mm.
And that's the thing that pissed me off more than anything else. And to be honest, I'm not Thomas Starr. I have no time for that guy whatsoever. The guy just likes drama more than anyone else, and I will not have the time of day for him, because it's the way he acts is just, it's ridiculous, and it's not something that I want to be like. The way he acted to Carnage the other day, and to be fair, I should never have got involved. Me and Morgan should never have got involved in that, and maybe it's just because we tried to defend Carnage. But the way this community is going, we're getting a lot of shit, like NSW, because of this. Only because I tried to stand up for NSW against Lions, who said he doesn't know who we are, but yet turned around and said they shouldn't be in here.
Yeah, and you had every right to defend yourself. For a lot of the people that came to you and said what they were saying, and I will still say it to this day, I did not tell any of them to do that, because I'm not, me long enough to know that I would not go out of my way and tell people like, oh, do this to this one specific person. I didn't. A bunch of people felt they had a certain feeling to oblige for whatever reason that they had. Sure, they could have said and handled it differently, but a lot of people did come to you and said things to you, and I even said I didn't approve of, and I never said for them to do that, but they did, and there was, who am I to try to stop them? Sure, I could have said, don't do that, but who knows for sure that they would, guaranteed. But that, going back to the podcast that happened, you and Lions were going back and forth a bunch, and I wasn't one-sided, and I want to reference something that Haldo and his friend Kian said, that it was basically a 5-on-1, meaning like me and all the other people against you, and I felt like I should oblige to that and say it wasn't, because, like I just said, despite everything that happened, I kept it neutral, because once again, I had no reason to talk shit to any of these people here, because I just walked out. I walked off because I thought it was a mature thing to do, or I couldn't deal with it anymore. Yet I could at the same time kept dealing with him, and none of this would have happened, as this has happened many times for the past year, because I started branching out almost a year ago. And, like I just said, I dealt with it for this long. Even sometimes may have been like close to as bad as this, but this has been really bad because of the involvement of other people. And like I said, both of us could have probably handled it differently, but unfortunately, this is where it's led up to now. I've left you guys alone. And I know the video I just put out yesterday, like that, kind of contradicts of what I just said, but I don't know. I was going through a lot, and I saw the tweets from Morgan, because Morgan, I don't know why he still does public tweets to try to insult me. It's not working, by the way, but I don't see the reason why he's still doing that when I've left you guys alone. And then I could have not made that video of the screenshot and all that. I could have been more mature and not did it, but I did. I'm not denying it.
See, the thing I see from this is everybody's coming to gang up on us, but as I said, you're right. You're absolutely right with what you said, but as you should know, and everybody knows, that Morgan loves to stir things. And,
yeah.
And even Jason even said that on Twitter yesterday, and we haven't heard from Jason in over a year and a half. And he said, "Oh, there's Morgan stirring up shit again." But the thing is, this is all boiled down to people's characters, and this is what is, and I've said to the guys, I said, look, this. I've took the rule off there. If your character's in and you leave, then you go. But that is stopping me now. I don't ask people to join NSW. I don't. I've never asked them. If people want to join, they join. But when you have people like Marty Michaels, whoever runs that account, the stuff he says is ridiculous. Like, he came to NSW, we give him a chance, he left, and then he slagged off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. And I understand you guys had the rule of, if you desire to keep using such caw or whatever, that you would. And I want to refer back to the podcast when everything went down 2 weeks ago, that, when, and I've said this over and over, Lyons said, like, for basically, he said that I was being enslaved by you. I did say that's over the top. I wouldn't agree with that. And he said, like, oh, you should just drop Crazy J right now. And you can even hear me say it on the podcast many times. I said, well, if they have the desire to use me to finish what they have been building up for a while now, I wouldn't mind that. So that's where the neutrality came in. I was saying against what Lyons was saying about, just drop them now, in the favor of what you were working hard for.
I think Tom's happy though, because he got to win the European title. So, so I think Tom's happy with what happened. But this today is, this drama's got far too much. It literally has got to a day where now everything is, you're expecting drama every day. And
I expect a tweet from Morgan insulting me every day, at least once at this point.
Block him. You blocked everyone else.
I mean, yeah, that is true. Well, it's because, it was like that one day or two. It's just all you guys were blah, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. But
right. I'm trying to find a tweet but I can't find it. There was a guy who said this drama should all end, and I'm trying to find where it is.
And it should. This is all of this is. It's still going on 2 weeks later. Like, almost, basically 2.5 weeks. And that's why I said, all this is dragged on, and it does need to stop. Some people are like, oh, don't go on there, Jaiden, it's not worth it. I said, hey, you guys told me you're tired of seeing this as much as I am, so if I go on there, and Mundo said he wants to end all this, if I go on, then I'm pretty much doing a favor, not just for me, but for everyone else.
But the thing is, we only react to people who react to us. If that makes any sense?
Yeah, I know.
If people if people start having to go, then they're going to have to expect people to have a go back.
Yeah.
And for people to slag off NSW, when, to be honest, and I will say this, and I've said this many times, when it comes from TAW, I'm sorry, but I have to laugh, because that, I'm sorry, as I said, I don't have any time for that guy. I can't even call him a guy. I feel fucking disgusted even saying that. The guy hasn't got a clue. He's an absolute lick arse, and he was in that podcast. And if you're honest, you would say Thomas Starr did everything. By the way, Thomas Starr's a name we own, but we'll not get into that. That would be ridiculous. But what I'm saying is Thomas Starr in that podcast did everything to get on Lyons' side. And that is the thing to me. Is that why I told him to shut up? Because all he does is he licks ass. And he doesn't, he thinks he's drunk with power, despite he's never been probably drunk in his life. And, like, to be honest, it's just ridiculous how everybody just jumps on having a go at NSW. That's why I sent a thing out to my guys going, if you get involved in anything, I don't want NSW involved. If you have drama with someone, don't get NSW involved, because I'm sick of the NSW being dragged through the mud. When I put a lot of work into it, and all I do is, oh, it's shit. Well, how's it shit? Because we don't let you win. Because we let the computer play. And, I don't know.
I don't think Tom was, kissing ass to anybody. I feel like, either he was saying things in defense of him, him going, hey, I'm a friend of yours, I'm, defending you and all that. And maybe some of the things that were said probably, like, hit him personally on that type of level, and he probably said things that way. I do want to say, like, some of the things that you guys said, COH people pleasers. Now I once again, I know what you guys have your opinions on, but I want to say, like, on behalf of, like, how they work, because I've seen how they've worked for almost a year now. Like, I know things are not just given to them. Like, when I first got on Ironbound or something like that, and if I were to go to them and say, hey, I want to be on the main roster right now, they don't just give it, like, they tell you what they would tell everyone else. No matter what you want or desire, you have to work really hard for it. Now, for me, in my case, when it came out to the main roster, I got in under a year. That's rare, but they told me what I did to work for it, and I'm proud of myself of doing that. But I wanted to say, they're not people pleasers. They don't just give things away. Like, you do have to work hard for what you want.
But the thing is, he turned around. Lyons turned around and said, Jaiden on a mobile phone is better than NSW.
Yeah, that's a bit over exaggerated. Yeah, like, that's just I know that's just things being said that to be said, and how you guys are feeling each other at the time. And I know you guys put so much work in your shows, and I do like it. I appreciate that you put so much work into it. It comes out amazing. And like, I don't know what else to say. And before I continue on, I watched Callum's thing. I did a reaction to it, but I was unsure to upload it or not, because I didn't.
Well, you did one to us.
I know. Because I watched a couple of minutes of it and heard some of the things, but when I heard Callum's was neutral, I did react to it, but I was just unsure to upload it because I don't know if it would just continue to make things worse when both of us wanted to end. So it's there just sitting in my computer, but I don't know. Well, not that I don't know. I don't want to upload it to continue further things. But I do want to say, like, we obviously mentioned how all this started earlier, and Callum thought after being gone for about 8 months. Glad to see him back, by the way, despite what he said to me on Twitter earlier, but whatever. Glad he's back. All this didn't happen because I was unhappy with booking, because, that's what he thought. Where I wasn't booking, I was happy. I had a title match. I was going to be in my first WrestleMania in this group out of the almost 2 years. I was happy, so I had nothing to do with that, and I just felt like I had to say that on here.
Well, all I can say is, because I don't want to, obviously I don't want to be on here all night, because obviously I want to go and play GT and stuff like that,
That's understandable.
But the thing is, from now is, I'm sick of it. Like, I will only react if people react to me.
Yeah.
I've took Colonel Jaiden down. It was a joke. I'd seen it because I've seen a billion fucking crazy J's and it was annoying as.
Yeah, I had to make a lot. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
Well, you don't have to say sorry. It's just what I've seen on Community Creations. But it's down. It's gone. We literally, if any of my guys, because I can't even call them my guys because they're just Skype. If any of my guys start stuff, then it's got nothing to do with NSW. And I've said that today. As I said before, I've said, look, don't get NSW involved. If you want to get me involved as my person, then I'll get involved. You know what I'm like. I'll never shut up. But NSW is. We've tried to make it. We've obviously tried to build it. Obviously, people like different things, and that's the way it is. And we'll just keep going anyway. We're never going to stop. So, the only thing I'm going to say is, let's just move on.
Yeah.
I think it's. But I'll say that now for NSW and Crazy J. That's it. Gone separate ways. But if I see anything having to go to NSW, then it goes back again, because I'll defend it to the hill.
Yeah, I know you have every right to, and I will guarantee you that when it comes up to anyone saying anything about NSW, it's not gonna come from me, because once again, I still don't have a reason to insult you guys or talk shit despite everything that's already happened, but and like I said, this could have probably been prevented when either one of us could have probably handled it differently, but it's come to this, and we're handling it now. Luckily,
I think this would have been over. I think the way this went too far is that podcast. That podcast tipped everyone over the edge. It's not your fault. Don't get us wrong. You had your say, and that was fine, but I personally think that podcast has just blown this totally out in the open, and unfortunately, I had to defend myself because I'm not going to have someone like Mr. Lyons there thinking that he's the fucking biggest person in the community and telling people not to join NSW. I just think that it's just. How he done it was wrong. But there you go. Let's get final thoughts. Anyone think you want to say to everybody before we end? And
I want to say that there's most of you still that are part of NSW that I still respect, and. For the ones that said something to me on Twitter, like the ones that barely did, it never really hurt me or whatever, but it's water under the bridge. But some people might probably not at all or take a while to forgive, and that would be Danny and Morgan, because how consistently they have. But I don't hate them and all that. I do want to say that just to get that clear. But I don't know. That's it.
Well, thanks very much for coming onto the podcast.
Yeah,
much appreciated. As I said, NSW, Chris J, gone separate ways. No more. Let's not hear anything else between each other. Let's try and calm this drama down from the rest of everybody. I think it's not a. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing this because it's damage limitations. It's because I think everybody. It's like literally watching it every day. It's just you go on Twitter and it's drama. And this community is not going to get anywhere if it just continues.
Yeah.
And for us, my final say just before we go, NSW is not actively looking for anyone to join. That's not what we're about. We do shows that we just literally like people to watch. As you say, you can follow Crazy J on Twitter as well and watch what he does through his eFeds. And that's it. Just thanks again for coming on.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, we will be streaming on NSS1, so keep an eye out for that in about 10 minutes. But that's it. Be back soon. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, listening, even.